Hello, my name is Deanna Davis, General Manager, Community Wellbeing across CatholicCare Victoria. Within CatholicCare Victoria, we are committed to working more closely with our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and the organisations across Victoria. We're also committed to the development of a reconciliation action plan as CatholicCare Victoria. I would now like to proceed with the acknowledgement to country. In continued support of truth-telling and reconciliation, CatholicCare Victoria pays respect to and acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, waterways and community. We pay our respect to their elders, past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. We acknowledge sovereignty of lands was never ceded and commit to the cultural safety of all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, which includes our staff and communities across Victoria. Thank you.
Welcome everyone to the launch of CatholicCare Victoria's strategic plan. I guess this is not the way we would all have prepared to do the launch of our plan, but with the COVID situation being what it is, we decided that we did not want to hold the launch, but to do this in a rather safe, I think as our Premier would call it, COVID safe way. So thank you for joining us today. In 2021 in January, when we came together, we decided that what we would do is set a short-term strategy for the next 12 to 18 months, one around integration and consolidation of the three organisations, and at the same time looking at the organisations and where our strengths lay and where our opportunities lay in the future. The culmination of that work over the last 6 to 9 months has resulted in what we're now here to discuss, which is our strategy from the year 2022 to 2027. So on behalf of the board and staff of CatholicCare, I'm delighted to share those plans for the next 5 years. During the next hour, we'll provide an overview of the strategy plan and what we hope to achieve for the communities we serve. Our CEO, Agnes Sheehan, will share our social change approach, and that's the framework for how we believe we will best deliver the best outcomes for our clients. And Nick Collins, Group Director of Client Services, will highlight some of the key projects that we will be investing in to boost our capability to deliver on our strategic plan. We will also have time for a Q&A, which will be managed by Sally Kirkbright, one of my fellow directors, where there will be a panel made up of myself, Agnes and Nick. And we will respond to any questions you may have about our plan. Can I please encourage you to post your questions during the webinar using the Q&A button. But first, I would like to invite the Most Reverend Paul Burke, Bishop of the Diocese of Ballarat, to say a prayer and to speak on the mission of CatholicCare Victoria. Welcome, Bishop Burke.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you. I'm very pleased to join this gathering as we launch CatholicCare Victoria strategic plan. At the commissioning mass in the early days of CatholicCare Victoria, we read a prayer that expressed our hopes for the services that we would be providing. And I think this prayer is appropriate for today as well. And so I'd like to invite you just to join me in spirit as I read that prayer that we began CatholicCare Victoria with, and I think will carry us into the next stage very well. Our mission is that all may have life that all may experience life in all its fullness. May families and communities find in and through their encounter with us that a kinder, more compassionate society is a reality and not just an impossible dream. That respectful relationships can and do sit at the heart of who we are and all that we do. May we deepen our respect for the dignity and worth of all people. May we renew our commitment to walk with those in our communities who are marginalised and disadvantaged, whose relationships are under strain. May we strengthen our commitment to the common good, to courageously seek out the good that is there in our shared founding stories. May we, with a listening heart, embrace these shared stories. May we embark on the journey together to make these stories our story, one story, the story of CatholicCare Victoria. We stand today in solidarity with each other. We ask that we open our hearts and minds. We ask that we may respond creatively to the task of building the reign of love, justice, and peace in our world. May we proceed empowered and enlivened to engender life, life in all its fullness. That prayer, I would observe, has some wonderful qualities. You look through those words and you find kindness, compassion, respect, love, justice, and peace. And they're certainly the kind of qualities that we would hope to share through the services that we offer in CatholicCare Victoria. Aware, as John said, of the founding of CatholicCare Victoria based on a number of other caring organisations, we're conscious that we're building on the service that people have provided before us. People who've served through CatholicCare Melbourne Gippsland, CatholicCare Sandhurst, and Centrecare, Catholic Diocese of Ballarat. And this afternoon, I would give thanks for the care that has been shown through those earlier years. And I also thank all of you who are involved in care now for CatholicCare Victoria. And I thank all those people who've been looking ahead. That's what a strategic plan is about, to look ahead. I thank all those involved in preparing the strategic plan. And as John mentioned, I've been asked to offer a few reflections on the mission of CatholicCare Victoria. So to begin with, it's probably a good place to start is just to refer to a few lines in the founding constitution of CatholicCare Victoria, where the mission is expressed in these few lines. The mission of CatholicCare Victoria is to advance the ministry of Catholic charitable and social services in the state of Victoria as part of the Church's commitment to continue the mission of Jesus Christ by proclaiming God's love for each person and promoting their fullness of life. CatholicCare Victoria seeks to build up communities that recognise and nurture the dignity of each person as created in the image of God and called into relationship with God and others. CatholicCare Victoria devotes particular attention to supporting individuals, families, and communities in times of need, especially those who are most disadvantaged, vulnerable, or marginalised. To reflect for a moment on that statement, it's really based on, we see it as a mission statement, a statement of mission. It's based on the mission of Jesus himself. The word mission comes from a word meaning sent. Jesus, our faith tradition tells us, was sent by God to show God's compassion and to bring fullness of life to people. In the gospel, in fact, we read Jesus says, I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. And in our strategic plan, that's quite prominent, those that quote from Jesus, that we are following him in seeking to bring life to the full for all humanity. And that sense of bringing life to everyone draws on, I think, a beautiful teaching of Jesus about God showing love and compassion to everyone. And Jesus uses a simple illustration from the world around us. He pointed out that God causes the sun to rise on everyone, whoever you may be. And God sends the rain to fall on all kinds of people. And so Jesus said, if we wish to be children of God, we'll show kindness and compassion to everyone. I think that's a very profound but a very beautiful message. So that was the mission of Jesus, we could say, to show God's kindness and compassion, especially to those who are struggling. And as followers of Jesus, as those followers formed the early Christian community, the early church, they sought to continue that mission. And I'd just like to refer to a couple of early examples. We have an example from the church's very early years in the second Christian century. St. Justin describes what we would say perhaps now would be Sunday Mass in Rome. He's talking about the Christian community gathering on Sundays, and he says that at the end of the celebration, there was a collection in order to gather some help for orphans and widows and those in need. And he writes, those who can give donations, they make contributions, and the collection is deposited with the presider, who aids orphans and widows, those who are in want because of sickness or some other reason, those in prison, and visiting strangers. In short, he takes care of all in need. So that was in the second century. And as the years went by, the church community continued. And by the third century, we read in the history, there was a well-developed system. So from simple beginnings, a system developed of care for those in need. And coincidentally, today happens to be the feast day of one of the main people responsible for that care in Rome in the 3rd century, St. Lawrence. He was a deacon in Rome, and he was responsible for supervising the distribution of help to those in need. I suppose we could say for Rome in the 3rd century, St. Lawrence was something like the chief executive officer for Catholic Care Rome, very much a pioneer in the kind of service that we are seeking to do today. So as I look back on that history and as we reflect on it, I hope we can draw some inspiration from those who've gone before us. Immediately, those earlier communities in Catholic cares and centre cares, but further back still, all those centuries of service, back to St. Lawrence and back to St. Justin and back to Jesus himself, because that's really the basis of the mission of CatholicCare Victoria. Goes right back to the mission of Jesus, who came to bring God's compassion to people, and as we say in our documents, to bring life in its fullness. And I'd like to conclude these few words just with a prayer that refers to God and God's compassion, and also to Jesus, who came to show that compassion, and the Spirit who can renew our hearts. Blessed are you, God of all creation. In your goodness, you look with compassion on the afflicted. You reach out with kindness to those in need. Grant us a share in your kindness and compassion. We give you thanks for your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, who came among us as one who serves. May we follow his teaching and example in our care for our brothers and sisters. We thank you for your Holy Spirit, sent to renew the face of the earth. May we share in the Spirit's mission, bringing new heart to your people. And I ask your blessing on all who serve through CatholicCare Victoria. May our ministry bring support to those who are struggling and peace to those who are troubled. And we pray that we'll share God's love in so many ways, day by day. Thanks very much, John. Thank you for the opportunity to share these few thoughts.
Thank you, Bishop Paul. And I think those comments and reflections will stay with us for many months and years ahead. So thank you so much for that. The first thing I'd like to start with is acknowledging the support of all of our members. Archbishop Peter Comensoli, Bishop Paul Bird, whom you've just heard speaking, Bishop Shane McGinley, and Bishop Greg Bennett. The coming together of the Victorian Catholic Social Service agencies to form CatholicCare Victoria was made possible through their vision, dedication, commitment, and courage, without which we would not be here presenting the strategic plan for CatholicCare Victoria. I still recall the Bishop's joint statement released in 2020 to announce the merging of Centre Care Ballarat, CatholicCare Melbourne Gippsland, and CatholicCare Sandhurst. It read, as CatholicCare Victoria, we will have enhanced capability to respond to those in need, to sponsor initiatives at the breadth and scale that are most effective, and to advocate about and address the root causes of poverty and injustice, thus fulfilling the Church's commitment to continue the mission of Jesus Christ by proclaiming God's love for each person and promoting their fullness of life. Today, CatholicCare Victoria launches its strategic plan, which will guide the organisation for the next 5 years so that we can actually deliver against the mission set by the bishops. But what does it look like to live life to the full? At CatholicCare Victoria, we believe that when individuals live with dignity, choice, and empowerment, when people feel connected, and when there is well-being is nurtured, that is when everyone can live life to the full, and when communities can truly thrive. With our combined 184 years of delivering social services, we know too well the challenges faced by thousands of Victorian families who are living on the margins. Each year, CatholicCare supports 35,000 people, including over 1,500 children receiving counselling to address issues such as anxiety, behavioural issues, and school refusal. More than 3,600 individuals who access emergency relief so they can put food on their table or pay an electricity bill. Over 2,000 families seeking help from our family relationship centres in Geelong, Ballarat, and Shepparton following separation or divorce. And around 700 people from refugee and asylum seeker communities overcoming trauma and trying to build a new life in a new country. I could go on. And while our staff continue to provide professional services and achieve great outcomes for families and individuals, we know that to disrupt the cycle of disadvantage, we will have to look beyond the immediate needs of the client in front of us as we strive for broader social impact. And that will mean transforming the way we work. It will mean journeying with individuals, families, and communities, giving them a voice to determine what is best for them. It will mean using evidence and strength-based approaches to empower families, children, and individuals in need. It will mean partnering with others, including governments and the community, education, and corporate sectors, to expand our reach and fill the gaps of unmet need. And it will mean tailoring our support services in regional, rural, and metropolitan growth corridors to build thriving, connected communities. Agnes Sheehan, our CEO, will lead the CatholicCare Victoria team to deliver on the strategic plan. And you will soon hear from Agnes when she provides more detail about our social change approach. Before I hand over to Agnes, we would like to share a video of one of the current clients who can give actual voice to some of the impacts of our work.
My name is Chandra Kumar. I'm 17 years old. I was born in India, but my parents were born in Sri Lanka. I was about 8 years old. I came by boat. I left India for a better education because my family wants us to have a bright future and then for a better place. So that's why we came to Australia, mainly for us better education. I have a one younger brother and one younger sister, and they go to this school too. I couldn't speak English when I first came to Australia, so I struggled. So this result, I couldn't make any friends because of I was scared. So I couldn't be any part of any school activities. Well, most of it was racism. So yeah, people just call me many names, and then people made fun of the religions too. So which was hard for me. My dreams is to try to get into medicine. So I'm working towards my goal now. So hopefully I can get good grades end of this year and get into biomed. So I'm planning to go to like Deakin or some Melbourne University or something. Oh, my family. So they always taught me the struggles they go when they were in childhood. So they don't want the same thing happening to us. So they keep motivating us and supporting throughout the way. So that keeps motivating and be growth mindset. If you can dream, you can do it. So this means that dream bigger, work even harder, and someday you will succeed. So that's my main message. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Chandra, for sharing your journey. I was particularly impacted by the smile on your face when you said, dream bigger, work even harder, and someday you will succeed. Chandra's excitement and joy is evident since he has a goal and he knows how he's going to achieve it. And he has a plan to do so. I feel the same sense of excitement and joy about CatholicCare Victoria and the launch of our strategic plan. We have a goal to build thriving communities through disrupting the cycle of disadvantage. Today, we will provide you with an insight into how we're going to achieve this ambitious goal. CatholicCare Victoria was just a vision in 2020, at the start of 2020, and was a reality by the end of that year. There's a lot of interest into how we brought the three agencies together. However, to put it simply, we had a vision and a belief that by coming together, we could do much more for the communities in need across Victoria. Disadvantage is multifaceted, and to disrupt the cycle of disadvantage, we must continuously adapt the way we work with our clients, ourselves, and others in the community. Our strategic plan has a number of elements, and I will share with you now how are we going to adapt and change to achieve our goal. We have 7 areas that we're going to focus on. We work with the most vulnerable and marginalised in Victoria. And when they come to see us, we will be a place of welcome. We will continue to provide them with safe, inclusive, and accessible services. The group of clients that are at the heart of our work are the young people who we accommodate in our residential care homes. For these young people, we are their 24-hour guardians. Our commitment is to provide them with more than just a safe place to lay their head. Our commitment is that our residential care home is a springboard for them to rest, to heal, and grow into the vital young people our community needs. This is hard work. During 2022, we identified 2 young people in our care whose goals were to return to their family. With the strong and consistent advocacy from our CatholicCare residential care team, we were able to work with our child protection colleagues to assist one young man to return home to his mother, knowing that we had the potential to provide family and targeted care support from the wider CatholicCare team. For another young man, strong advocacy and assistance and support from our mental health team meant that we could test and support the capacity of another young man to enter the care of a kinship family member. This is how we define inclusive, safe, and accessible services for our clients. Building connections, empowerment, and capacity within the communities we serve and the clients we support is our second area of focus. As with Chandaru's experience, acknowledging and supporting our clients' strengths will increase their confidence to face challenges and build hope for the future, for a better future. Within all our programs and working with our clients, we will further develop our ability to build connections and the capacity of our clients. Our youth justice team provides for young people who have come into the attention of our youth justice system. Our team work hard to provide opportunities for them to reach their potential and use their talents through education and self-development and skills development. Sometimes things do not go well for our young people, and they end up for a time in one of our 2 state youth justice facilities. With our clients' permission, we can now continue to engage with those young people through our youth prison chaplaincy services. This gives us the opportunity to continue to stay connected and ensures continuity of care and provides our client, our young person, the opportunity to stay connected with family, but also stay connected with our youth justice team. The third element of our social change approach focuses on expanding our capability around early intervention. Our goal to enhance the lives of our clients and our communities is to enhance the lives of our clients and our communities. And we do this best through early intervention. We will continue to expand our early intervention programs, such as our group parenting programs, our marriage education programs, into new regions. Understanding that these programs give our clients the tools to tackle problems as they occur, or even better, prevent problems before they start. Another early intervention program is our school counselling services, which we are now extending into new regions across Victoria. We have expanded our school counselling team to provide ongoing high-quality support to principals, teachers, and children. To address the demand for school counselling, we have adapted to provide effective online counselling and supervision services to our schools. We will shortly be introducing a new innovation, which is online IQ testing to reach students with learning difficulties. This innovation was developed in partnership with Monash University and will substantially reduce the significant waiting periods for these students to get additional support and the support they need. It also will assist teachers to be equipped with the appropriate learning requirements. Our fourth element of our operating framework is evidence-informed action and advocacy. We will continue to build an evidence base to inform best practice and assist our advocacy for our clients to enable systemic change. We will use data to enable us to replicate and scale the programs and services that have the greatest impact for our clients and our communities. In addition, we will continue to partner with independent organizations such as Australian Catholic University, Monash University, and others who will evaluate our programs for their effectiveness and impact. One of the key principles the Bishop set out for us was the importance of meeting and addressing local needs. Our Victorian government has a paper on place-based approaches. And one of the first lines in that paper says, "It is not for the faint-hearted." However, we are committed to expanding our community-led and place-based response in our programs. One of the success factors of the Settle Well program is that it is embedded in a school setting and that the program has been a collaborative effort between our staff, the staff staff within the school, as well as the wider community. We seek other opportunities to facilitate place-based, community-led approaches to enable better integration and navigation of our services for everyone in the community. We are actually investing in a community-led and place-based project in Melton, where we are co-designing services and solutions with local community leaders, organizations, and other partners. We deliver great client outcomes and services. However, in partnership with others, we can do so much more. Our fifth area of focus in our commitment to building our capacity capability is around partnerships and greater collaboration. Settle Well is an excellent example of a partnership, of how partnerships can amplify outcomes. This modest program roars because of the partnerships that have enabled us to improve our capacity and service offering. This partnership involves many parties, including North Geelong and Northern Bay secondary colleges, the Centre for Multicultural Youth, Geelong Magistrates Court, City of Greater Geelong, Barwon High, Norlane Community Centre, and many other organisations that have partnered with us to strengthen the Settle Well programme. The Settle Well program receives no government funding. It only exists because of the generosity of our philanthropic partners. Imagine the impact we could have if we could take that program across other regions and communities in Victoria. Philanthropic funding has provided the program with the flexibility to evolve and adapt to the emerging needs of the community. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our donors, since you have enabled us to address unmet needs in the community. We have invited many partners, sister agencies, clergy, school principals, and many others to the launch today. We hope to continue to work with you and with our state and federal government agencies to build on each other's strengths. And finally, our people. Our journey of coming together was a journey of discovery of all the gifts, skills, experience, and practice professionalism that each part of CatholicCare brought to the table. The final and seventh element of our operating framework is focused on engaging and enabling and empowering our people. We know that our capacity to deliver our goal of building thriving communities through disrupting the cycle of disadvantage will depend on our people and their leadership. We are extremely grateful to our staff and volunteers who are talented, compassionate, collaborative, and deeply committed to social justice. It is vitally important that we retain this talent and grow our team to address the needs in our community. This means continuing to make CatholicCare Victoria a great place to work, ensuring supportive and inclusive workplace where our staff and volunteers are valued and empowered to deliver their best. In summary, we have a clear vision, mission, and goal. We know what we need to do to achieve it. We will continuously measure our progress. And we have the leadership team and people who are deeply committed to achieving our goal. However, we also need to invest to achieve our goals. So now I'd like to pass to our Group Director of Client Services, Nick Collins, to take us through our priority investment areas. Thank you.
Transforming, simplifying, and connecting. These are the themes of the 6 priority investment areas in our strategic plan, which focus on improving our capacity and capability to respond to the significant barriers impacting individuals, families, children and young people now and into the future. Some of these investments will be directly client-focused, whilst others are enablers of better service provision. So briefly, the 6 priority investment areas are, first and most importantly, investing to strengthen our client impact, which means working with clients and communities to create pathways for real change. We will reinforce our client service delivery strengths and grow services in fringe corridors, rural and regional areas, and particularly including better wraparound support services and assistance to clients who are already engaged with us, given our larger footprint across CCV. Secondly, empowering our people. It's an important investment to build a supportive, diverse, and inclusive workplace, strengthening our culture where our people and volunteers are valued and can perform at their best. And that means also across CCV as a larger entity, working as larger teams, nurturing expertise, and developing communities of practice, which are in practice already, but we can enhance further. Thirdly, leveraging our data for insights. And this is an ongoing project for CatholicCare Victoria as we make better use of our data insights for service advocacy to inform social policy. And it's really a duty of our service provision to be able to inform government about what this means when we work with clients to advocate for better need. Fourthly, growing our connections with community and partners. And this involves investment to expand our fundraising teams and to help grow and diversify our income to fund innovative models of care and, importantly, to support financial sustainability into the future. We've also invested to grow our community engagement team to help deepen our relationship with Catholic parishes and communities and schools and to inspire support for our mission. Fifthly, as you can see on the slide there, digitally transform our organisation. We have an extensive program of works underway that will simplify and streamline our end-to-end support services, as well as explore digital solutions to improve the client experience and to better maximise client outcomes. And finally, enabling our housing communities to thrive, which involves significant investment in growing our social housing program. So each of these investment areas represent significant programs of work. And today I'd like to share a bit more of a deep dive into 3 key projects that CatholicCare Victoria has underway. Firstly, our social housing project. So over the next few years, CatholicCare Victoria will expand our social housing program from 90 properties to 240 properties, with ambitions to grow to 500 properties across Victoria. A very ambitious goal. And while construction is underway, we are exploring how we can build thriving communities for our social housing residents, so that we are not just providing a roof for our residents, but start to really understand how we can help them live life to the full. This will involve connecting residents to our other CCV services across Victoria, and also connecting with other services from other organisations, and also exploring how we can connect and value add with support through our volunteer program. Secondly, digitising the client experience. In the last 2.5 years, our services have transformed dramatically as a result of COVID, when we pivoted to remote service delivery. Despite the lifting of lockdowns, we're still finding some clients do prefer this mode of remote service delivery, and we will continue to develop our capability to offer clients flexibility and choice. We are also focusing on more online and video service provision as an ongoing feature of our service delivery, particularly for individuals, couples and families living in regional Victoria who need to travel long distances to access a service, to join an online parenting or educational group, or complete an assessment for a specific service. And we're also exploring a new project to further digitise our client-facing systems, which will empower our clients through online registration, online bookings, support for clients wanting to access remote service delivery, and greater capacity for feedback using technology more, such as SMS or using an app to provide feedback. And finally, the third area I want to talk about is the voice of the client, which is integral to our mission and helps inform all aspects of our services as we aim to improve the client journey. Capturing the client experience and their outcomes is an ongoing piece of work for CatholicCare Victoria. And as you can appreciate, during COVID, this was particularly evident with emergency relief, where we were able to provide the federal government, the actual Department of Social Services, with real-time data about our demand, our types of assistance, trends in service delivery, and feedback from clients about what was working and what was not working, including differences in Melbourne versus regional Victoria, which provided an early indicator of trends at the national level, which was vitally important. And this capability and deployment ultimately led to us securing additional funding to provide more assistance to more vulnerable clients. And we'd like to do a lot more of that across other services across our service footprint. Again, with the rapid uptake of digital platforms during COVID, we have been able to gain more client feedback, with an excellent response rate to many of our online client surveys. More recently, we've commenced a project to allow clients to provide feedback online about the experience of our services, where previously outcome measurement tools were completed by staff. So soon our clients will have the ability to complete and provide feedback about their own experience of our service. So in summary, our strategic priority investment areas will enable our people to adapt, to connect, innovate and grow so that our statewide organisational remains sustainable and continues to strengthen client impact and deliver tomorrow's social services within a modern digital environment. All of these projects will help lead us towards our vision of thriving, inclusive communities where people experience a unique dignity in a compassionate and just society. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Agnes and Nick, for your insights into the strategic plan. You can certainly hear your passion, and it's really great to bring to life the purpose and the mission of CatholicCare Victoria. So thank you so much. So now's time for some questions. A reminder to put any questions into the Q&A. So I'll start. There were a couple of questions already submitted. The first one is, can you tell us more, Agnes, you talked about the expansion of the early intervention program. Could you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
The program I think I spoke about was the Melton program and our expansion in that area. So we embarked on some research with families in Melton to understand what was impacting the cycle of disadvantage. We've also, and as a result of that, we have expanded our services in Melton, but we continue to discuss with schools, community leaders, the council, as to how we can co-design and co-develop with the families and the community programs that will really benefit our clients and communities there. I might actually pass to Nick, who's been actually leading some of the discussions with council and key community leaders. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Agnes. Yeah, so the issue around early intervention is an interesting one, but the great thing around CatholicCare Victoria is that we provide a very broad continuum of support from prevention and early intervention right through to treatment and more tertiary services. So I think the opportunity there is that a lot of our group programs are really soft entry points for a lot of our clients, as well as helping clients identify issues where they could seek additional support. And I think with our remote service delivery, we might have the option of providing some of these services in areas where we may not even have an office. So I think it's a really exciting opportunity, as well as advocating both the government at the state and federal level around emerging need, where we can intervene earlier to prevent problems getting worse, and to provide some more wraparound support for clients. So early intervention is really important because it does save investment down the track, and it's good for us to think about where we can proactively engage with clients sooner.
So together with our communities out in Melton, building early intervention services and programs is really our focus. But we're only at the start of a long journey. Thank you, Sally.
That's great. Thank you. A question around social housing. So has the planning for the extension of the social housing services identified any sites for this?
With regard to, thank you for that question, we actually have 8 locations across regional Victoria that we're already building 150 new homes. We've also tendered for another 6 locations in regional Victoria as part of the second round of the Social Housing Growth Fund, and we're waiting to hear back. So we can actually distribute the locations, but it's Officer, Shepparton. So we've quite a large, broad areas that we are actually delivering the houses. So what we can do after this chat is just provide the list of houses where we have already started building. Thank you, Sally.
Thanks, Agnes. So there's quite a lot in this strategic plan. And, given what's happened in the employment market, how are we going to ensure that we've got the capability and the capacity to do all the amazing things that to bring this plan to life and achieve our mission?
So one of our investment priorities is around building that, making Catholic Care a great place to work. And that's about investing in great systems, processes, IT infrastructure, as well as great professional development and support for our team. So, Sally, we do have a plan, a people and culture plan, which all us executives and with the support of the board own. And we are very engaged in a process of informing our staff and engaging our staff in our goals and our dreams.
Okay, and I wonder too, Agnes, because you talked about collaboration and partnerships. So, I mean, I would imagine that that we certainly need collaboration and partnerships to be able to make this successful. Could you elaborate a bit more on what some of those partnerships look like?
We have some really strong partnerships. I'll just give you one example. In Shepparton, we have a program called Communities for Children, and that entire program is delivered through partnerships right around the Shepparton, Bendigo area. And so we have some very large organizations, but lots of small, culturally safe providers to those communities. So that's probably the best example of where we delivered the entire program through partnerships. We also work with agencies with regard to some of the areas we work with regard to, for example, with regard to foster care, where we need to get additional sorry, I've lost the word now, but where we need to give respite to our foster carers, we bring in additional support. I don't know what you...
Can I just add something there? I think also we're involved in so many partnerships for service delivery. A number of child and family services alliances, eight across the state we're involved with. We're involved with a number of other Catholic partners, particularly McKillop, where we're co-located, or they co-locate some staff with us at one of our FRCs in Geelong. We've got other partners with other organisations that sublease or rent some of our office space, and that's opened up some pathways such as financial counselling with Better Place in Geelong. So there's lots of partnerships, but I think where we're moving forward on is actually thinking about how we can provide more wraparound support in regional catchments with other providers. And we've seen that happen a bit more with ER as well. So yeah, it's a huge piece of work, but together we can do better. And we need to, and we do that well in our regional catchments where we're well known. And but a lot of that happens at the local level with service delivery, which is fantastic.
And we're building new partnerships or expanding partnerships with organisations like Villa Maria Catholic Home. So we have done a number of tenders in the last year to bring their deep domain expertise and their allied health capability with our community service capability to bring a deeper level of service to our clients and communities.
Yeah, that's great. And it's good to hear, as I'm sitting in regional Victoria, to hear about the expansion in regional Victoria. So thank you for that. We've got time for one more question. And I think, John, this is a question always close to my heart. And John will often hear me asking this question at the board. So I was quite pleased to see this question. So how are we going to measure progress against the strategic plan, and how we know if CatholicCare Victoria is successful? Do you want that question?
Thanks, Sally. It's strange. In previous lives, I've known organisations who see the preparation of the strategy plan as the culmination of the effort. It's not. It's the start. There is always the temptation to breathe that great sigh of relief now the strategy has been declared, and somehow it ends up in a shelf in a drawer, gathers dust and never becomes live. Well, you're one of my fellow members in this one, Sally. It's our job as the board to make sure that never happens. And what we are now doing is we're currently developing a range of measures which will allow us to assess the success or otherwise of the individual initiatives which we're putting in place. And on a regular basis, we will want to report back to that, not just to our board, but to our stakeholders, so that they're aware of where we're progressing, how we're progressing, and how near we are to our goals. You know as well as I do, Sally, that these goals keep moving. It's not a static thing. Things will change, circumstances will change. And so we've got to learn to flex with that. This is a journey that never ends, but you've got to have measures in place. You've got to have goals in place. And you've got to be able to demonstrate that what you're doing is moving towards achievement of those individual things.
Great, thank you, John. Look, we do have another question, but maybe given time, maybe Agnes, you can pick up and answer the question. If I'm assuming you might be sending something out to the team afterwards, just to ensure that covers rather than us going over time. So thank you to the panel for your questions, and I think now I'll pass to John.
Thank you, Sally. So on behalf of the board and the staff of CatholicCare Victoria, I want to thank everyone who's attended our launch today. As we said earlier, probably not the way we would have preferred to do it, but we thought it was important to keep the launch date where it was and to let you know what we are proposing to do. I hope you have found something in the presentations today that have sparked your interest. And obviously with some of the questions, that's clearly the case. If so, please don't hesitate to get in contact. It's very easy for me to say with Agnes or Nick, and I'm sure they will be more than happy to chat further about the plans and even to discuss potential partnership opportunities. It would be remiss of me at this point not to thank all of the people who make possible the things that we do. And that's from our members and their various dioceses and parishes, to government, both state and federal, who provide funding for a number of our key programs, for a number of our corporate philanthropists, but probably above all, a lot of our individual sponsors and donors who are an absolute lifeblood to the organization. Unfortunately, this is an area of consistently increasing need. It's not something that's decreasing. We are finding the need is increasing, and COVID had some impact on that, but I think there's a lot of other elements of play. So not only do we need to have the continued support of all of those stakeholders, but we'd like to think that if you see something that we've talked about today that you are passionate about, you may want to come back to us and suggest ways that we could actually further advance that. And that can be, I mean this sincerely, can be in a spiritual, emotional, or financial sense. We would love to hear from you on that. Thank you, Diana, for your acknowledgement of country. Thank you, Bishop Paul, for the prayer and the really very poignant reflections. And Sally for running the Q&A in such a professional manner. Thank you, all of you, for assisting us in making this an interactive presentation today. So where to from here? If you'd like a copy of our strategic plan, you can download one from the website, which is, I'll just be very careful about this, catholiccare.org.au, catholiccare.vic.org.au. As I say, we will be looking at ways of reporting against the plan in the months and years ahead, and we will keep you up to date with how we will intend to do that. For the team at CatholicCare Victoria, tomorrow, in fact, for the last 6, 8, or I could say 18 months, we've been addressing this question of where to from here, but the serious business has certainly started, and we are very focused on ensuring that this is all about achieving a better outcome for our clients. To all of you who have come with us on the CatholicCare Victoria journey so far, staff, volunteers, donors, etc., we hope you continue with us in the next phase of our journey and our shared vision to build thriving communities. It's a passion of ours, and we hope it's a passion of yours. Thank you for attending today, and God bless.
Thank you.